Today, we are continuing our discussion of voting, campaigns, and elections. This slideshow covers election campaigns. As a reminder, you need to take the quiz on Chapter 11 this week. Campaigns understand that voters rely on free information and cognitive shortcuts. They are highly pragmatic and variable because they must adapt to the circumstances of election season. The 2016 primary and general election has definitely demonstrated that not all campaigns are the same. Campaigns have to be willing to make changes with the electoral climate. A candidate is a person who can be portrayed as sufficiently qualified and trustworthy for the job. Parties nominate candidates through a primary election process. Good candidates know when to run. In the early 90s, President Bush seemed unbeatable after the Gulf War, so some high-profile Democrats chose not to run. This left room for a relatively unknown governor, Bill Clinton, to get the nomination and eventually become president. Campaigns have to form a coherent message. In 2008, McCain used "Country First" as a slogan, and Obama focused his message on hope and change. Currently, Donald Trump is borrowing "Make America Great Again" from the 1980 Ronald Reagan campaign. The message should answer the question, why should I vote for this candidate rather than another? The message is more than the campaign slogan, but the slogan is part of the message. Campaigns strategize for winning elections. They collect data, run focus groups, and monitor changes in responses in order to craft messages. In most campaigns, the words of the candidate and the campaign team are chosen and crafted very carefully. Campaigns and candidates make mistakes, which are often referred to as campaign gaffes. In 1988, the Democratic Party nominee for president, Michael Dukakis, had a reputation for not being tough on crime and hawkish enough with the military. His campaign team arranged a photo op of him riding on a tank. In the photos and the video, he looks like he's having a good time, smiling and pointing at people. Dukakis was made fun of for the event, and it was considered a major gaffe in his campaign. There are a lot of examples of campaign gaffes. A more recent one is when Mitt Romney told a crowd in Detroit in 2012, "I drive a Mustang and a Chevy pickup truck, and his wife drives a couple of Cadillacs." The statement reinforced the idea that Mitt Romney was a very wealthy man who was out of touch with the American people. In the current campaign, Hillary Clinton referring to Donald Trump's supporters as deplorable could also be considered a campaign gaffe. Debates are an important part of election campaigns. Debates challenge candidates to convey their message effectively. Oftentimes, nothing new is said in a debate. Candidates rehash the policy positions and plans that they have been discussing on the campaign trail. Nonetheless, the debates are important beyond the content because style matters. It's important for the candidate to look calm, be confident, and act presidential. A big part of campaigns is negative or attack campaigning, which involves highlighting personal criticism of candidates. Negative campaigning can be ugly, but often effective. Though people say they hate negative campaigning, there is little evidence that negative campaigns suppress voter turnout. The target of most campaign ads are the rationally ignorant, marginally involved voters who have not already made up their minds on who they're going to vote for. It takes an incredible amount of money to run a campaign. Many argue that the amount of money in politics undermines one person, one vote. Privately financed elections raise the suspicion that elected officials will serve as agents to their contributors rather than their constituents. The Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971 provided partial public funding for presidential campaigns and required full public reporting of and strict limitations on all contributions and expenditures in federal elections. The cost of campaigns has continued to grow anyway. The 2008 and 2012 elections cost over $2 billion each. Independent campaign spending by a person or organization that is not involved or controlled by the candidate's campaign, has also increased. This includes what has become known as super PACs. It seems paradoxical, but the more money an incumbent spends, the more likely they are going to lose the election. This is because campaigns don't waste money on spending for incumbent candidates in quote-unquote safe seats. The party directs money to candidates who are threatened by credible opponents. Scholars have also had a hard time connecting money with votes of representatives. There is a problem establishing causation. For example, do unions give money to Representative Marcy Kaptur because she votes their way, or does she vote their way because they give her money? It's difficult to know. This concludes our discussion of voting, campaigns, and elections. Next week, we will cover political parties. Be sure to check out the videos on debates and the example campaign ads that were posted for this week.